What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice. Their genes have been spliced. They're Pinky and the Brain. Brain, 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 brain. Before each night is done, their plan will be unfurled by the dawning of the sun. They'll take over the world. They're Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. Their twilight campaign is easy to explain. To prove their mousy worth, they'll overthrow the earth. They're Pinky and the Brain. Brain, 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 brain.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the Willie Lawson Show here on iHeartRadio.com. Thank you so much, iHeart.com. I'm sorry, iHeart.com. I want to make sure I get that right. We are here this morning, and we were here last night, and what we are here to do is take over the world. Somebody asked me, what do you do? My wife asked me a couple days ago, and I said, what's your plans for today? And I said, to take over the world. That's, my friend Ken McClinton called me and to talk about being on the Exceptional Conservative Network and asked me what I want to do. And I said, I want to take over the world. I want to take over the world. And I know that sounds, silly, but I'm not, I'm not kidding. The more I think about it, the less I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. What I am desperate to do is take over the world, because I believe, like a lot of people who are despots who want to take over the world, what I'm offering people is something that they're not getting, is something that they are going to benefit from, enjoy and benefit from, and thrive. So yes, I am interested in taking over the world. So we are working hard here at the at Space Bar Productions and Willie Lawson Show and FightbackMedia.com to do just that. And today's show is going to be, I think, a fun show for me anyway. We're going to talk about millennials. It's interesting. There's been a lot of conversations about millennials. As a matter of fact, I think I woke up to Glenn Beck talking about millennials, and I usually, frankly, turn Glenn Beck off as soon as I can get to the radio. My wife listens to a local radio program while she's preparing for work and leaves the radio on. And normally I listen to the end of the local show and try to get to the radio before Glenn comes on. So do I have anything against Glenn Beck? No, not really. I'm not in a war or feuding with Glenn Beck. It's just that sometimes Glenn is depressing, and I don't need to start my day in a fit of hopelessness. I think that's problematical. You shouldn't start your day in a fit of hopelessness. So when Michelle Obama says that many people are hopeless, I disagree. I think that hopelessness is a state of mind, and you don't have to be there. You don't have to put yourself in a state of hopelessness. So I don't listen to Glenn, because so often what he talks about is, there isn't any end game. There isn't any plus to it. So I'm thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just not listen to this particular voice. There are 1,000 voices out there. Most of them I have in my head already. I carry with me. So I get to decide which ones I pay attention to and which ones I ignore. So I try to ignore Glenn Beck. But this morning he started talking about millennials, and I had been thinking about it all along, except I don't call this generation of 20-somethings millennials. Now, millennials are people who were born from 2000 on. If you think about it, we're talking about people who were born probably from 1990, I guess probably from 1990 on, right? That would put them in their 20s, a lot of them in their 20-somethings now, 20 to to 29, commonly referred to as millennials. I don't refer to them as millennials. I refer to them as the TBall generation. So we're going to have a discussion, a frank discussion, I think, but heartfelt, about how they got there, whose fault it is, and why we're seeing what we're seeing in that particular demographic of people, especially in America. All right, we're going to take a break and and help out our affiliate partners. We'll be back right after these messages. Innovation, inspiration, and imagination. 3 important characteristics that are important in any business, but especially in real estate when you're looking for your forever home. And when that home is a new home, there are very, very many things that must go right. The financing must be on point. The furnishings must be on point. The location and neighborhood must be on point. And if you need someone to get that right the first time, you have to go to my friend Gary Knight at New Homes of Tampa Bay. That's New Homes of Tampa Bay. You can reach him on the web at www.newhomestpa.com. If you're looking for innovation through technology, inspiration, and imagination through hard work, www.newhomestpa.com. There's no reason to wait for a special occasion to send flowers. No reason to wait until you miss a birthday or an anniversary or Valentine's Day to send flowers. All you have to do is get a hold of my friend Christine at Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, www.bloomingdays.com. That's www.bloomingdays.com. And tell her that you want to send the very best, that you care enough to send the very best. One of FTD's top florists in all of the United States, always in the top 100 of flower shops in the United States. That's Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, www.bloomingdays.com. Forget calling 1-800-something, www.bloomingdays.com. It's great to have partners, but it's even better when one of your partners is one of the finest urban conservatives in America. That's my friend Kevin Batts. Kevin Batts of Red River Chronicle TV. Red River Chronicle TV is taking the internet by storm. With fabulous production, amazing commentary, and incredible insight, Red River TV is the thing that we'll all be watching in 2017. They are the people, Kevin and his wife Janelle, are the voices that are going to make the difference in urban America in 2017. So get in on the ground floor. Go to www.redriverchronicle.com and subscribe to Red River TV today. Mainstream media is dead. There you go, and that's the truth. Mainstream media is dead. We're talking about millennials, which are the T-ball generation, and I'm gonna go back and refer to the sport of T-ball. Well, it's not really a sport; it's an activity, and I'm probably going to say some pretty offensive things to people. So if you're Captain Cupcake or a Snowflake Warrior, you probably want to go ahead and switch over to the MSNBC website about this point, because I'm going to say some fairly unkind things about you and your mama. just saying. As you know, T-ball is one of those games that you have really young kids play. Sort of this baseball or softball alternative, where you actually put the ball on a tee high enough for the youngster to swing at and hit with a bat. And of course, you get to swing at it as many times as you want until you hit it, and then you run to the base. Now, the idea is that as soon as somebody else hits it, then you can run to the next base or run to as many bases as you can get until you get home. Now, the idea is that it's safer because no one's throwing a ball at you. So it's supposed to be safer. You're supposed to get the same amount of fun out of it because it's kind of an alternative, a little kid's way to play baseball or softball. Now, this activity, because it's for little kids, no one is supposed to keep score. It lasts for some amount of time, and then we say, okay, the game's over, and let's go have pizza. Yay. Did you have a good time? Yay, I had a good time. And that's all that's supposed to matter. Everybody wins, or nobody loses. That's the whole thing. Nobody loses, which means nobody wins, right? Which means that nobody wins. So that's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to take the competition out of it. Now, who is pushing that narrative in the local parks? Dads who participate, or is it dads who participated in competitive sports as youngsters, who played Pop Warner football or Little League baseball? Is it dads that are pushing that non-competition narrative? No, it's not. It's millennial mothers. It's mothers. It's moms. And dads, because dad's missing or dad is been emasculated. No, it's not dads. It's not men. It's women who are getting their young boys involved in these activities, young boys and young girls playing T-ball co-ed, because there's no competition and we're all the same and everybody can achieve and everybody can be a star and everybody can do whatever they want. You can do whatever you want to do, whatever you put your mind to. And it actually, the whole nonsense morphed from that to you should be able to do anything you want to. You should be able to do anything you want to. So it's the T-ball. Everybody gets a trophy. Most of y'all remember. Most of you people who are my age or who are at the end. I guess I don't know. I think I'm at the end of the baby boomer generation at 56. You remember, you know what? You had the awards banquet at the end of the Little League season, and the team that won all their games and was the champions, they got a big trophy, and nobody else got diddly. There were no participation trophies or participation plaques. Second place was the first loser, right? Second place was the first loser. And it was disappointing and sometimes crushingly disappointing. We all got over it. We used it as fuel for the next season, individually and team-wise. Nobody liked feeling like crap. You didn't have to worry about our self-esteem because it was fueled with, hey, I don't want to feel like this again, so what do I have to do to not feel like this again? Notice how I phrase that. What do I have to do not to feel that way again? Well, I've got to up my game. I've got to learn to hit. I've got to be in shape. I've got to practice harder. I've got to study harder. I've got to think about this differently. Right? I've got to be more of a team player. But now, even in competitive, where they keep score, and I'm just using that as where they keep score, Little League, everybody has to play. There are rules in most Little Leagues that everybody who's on the team must play. Everybody must play. Now, it gets to the point where sometimes everybody who wants to pitch has to pitch. Whether you can pitch or not. I'll tell you why this everybody has to play, everybody gets a trophy thing is bad. It isn't just bad because it's patently unfair to the other people on the team. It's actually bad for the kid. It's actually bad for the kid. It makes the parents feel better. It makes mom feel better. But it's horrific for the kid. I remember I used to work with a friend of mine, and he was a band director at a local high school, and I used to tech for him. And then what that means, tech, I know that's inside baseball talk. All that means is that I used to actually write the drill instructions for the halftime shows. There are drill instructions. They don't just get out there and wing it. Drill instructions for the halftime show, and I used to help teach them. Used to write the instructions and then help teach the halftime show, the drill part of the halftime show, to the students. So we've sort of made that phrase called tech. I used to tech for them. I used to write drill and tech. So I remember one season early that we said, because we used to have, and they still do, they have drum major tryouts. The drum major is the are the students who are in front of the band conducting, leading them into the stadium, leading them from the stands onto the field, and then conducting the music. You've seen them now. When you see college conductors, what you know are drum majors, you normally see the big mace and the twirling and the and that sort of pageantry. But in high school, that's the kid on usually on a tower or a box conducting the band, not the directors. In college, it's usually directors who are actually directing the band. You see that in college, but in high school, it's kids actually directing the band. When I was at Florida State University, we had drum majors who conducted. Some schools don't have drum majors who conduct, like Ohio State. The drum major doesn't conduct. It's whatever the tradition is. There's no reason to get into the weeds about this, I guess. But we used to have tryouts for drum majors, and with the size of the band that we had, we decided early that there would be two. Later on, as the band grew, we used three, but early on we used two. Now, so there was always, and I think from the beginning year, there were always, for those 2 spots or 3 spots, there was always 10 or 11 kids who wanted to be drum major, who wanted to try out for drum major. There's a series of skills that you have to have. There's a series of things in an audition that you have to have. You have to do better than look good in the uniform. This ain't Disney. Because we needed those kids to have some leadership capability. We needed them to have musical capability. We needed them to be able to get along with the other students. There was a whole bunch of things that they needed to do. They needed to be able to show competency in conducting, all sorts of things that we needed them to do. We had character questions that we asked of them, all sorts of stuff. So, obviously, every year, when 2 kids made it, there were 10 kids who were disappointed, who didn't make it. One year, I remember one of the parents suggested, of one of the kids who didn't make it, suggested that everybody who wants to be drum major should get a chance to be drum major. Maybe we could rotate every week. So we could have a different drum major or different drum majors every week, so the kids who wanted to could get a chance to do it. Because because here's the deal, it's hard to be a drum major in a high school, because the deal is that whoever is drum major this year has the experience, and who's ever trying out who hasn't been drum major has no experience, and it's always the experienced person who gets to be drum major, right? I mean, how do you apply for a job that needs experience when you can't get any experience, right? So it seemed logical to that mom. She didn't take into account that because you have no experience in the middle of the season, you can't take the wheels of the car if you don't know how to drive. You can't be the first string quarterback of the team in the middle of the season if you've not started a game yet. If you didn't make the position, you can't just be quarterback because you want to be quarterback. This is what I saw as the beginning of the TBall generation, as it concerned what I was doing at the time. We want to be in charge. My kid really wants this, and what can I do to get it for them? Seemingly well-meaning, and that's what it was my kid really wants this. What can I do as a parent to get it for them? How can I change the system? How can I complain enough? How can I advocate for my student, for my son or daughter enough so I can get them what they want? Because I want them to have everything they want. Whether they deserve it or not, that's immaterial. It's just enough they want it. Right? It's just enough they want it. Now, I'll tell you what. I teched for that school for 17 years. We were blessed. We had lots and lots of kids. I think in the time that I was there, I'm going to try to get this right. I think probably the average size of the bands in 17 years there were somewhere around 190. And that includes the first year when we were around 70. So the average size of the band was about 190. So the band was always a pretty big band, which means we had a lot of kids and we had a lot of parents. So when we went to a football game, just a regular local football game, and took school buses, we were always on 7 or 8 school buses. Pretty much always 7 or 8 school buses. With parents and equipment and kids. We had an equipment truck. We would rent a truck every week. We didn't have one of those fancy schmancy trailers a lot of the big bands did because we didn't spend the money on that kind of stuff. But you know what I'm saying? So we saw a lot of kids. And I feel confident in saying today that most of the time when somebody was advocating for their youngster to have something, frankly, or be in a position that they didn't deserve, whether it was drum major, whether it was section leader, whether it was roll leader or some sort of officer in the band, some sort of leadership role, it was always a mom. It was always a female. It was always a woman. It was always a maternal female approach to the situation. Now, this, I am not saying is the problem, but it opens up an entire conversation about what we're seeing. This is, I think, what we're seeing with those kids who are at the Javits Center. Think about this: the Javits Center during the election returns for the presidential campaign. Now, I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Let me preface this, because it's really not my intention to insult you or kick you in the balls when you're down. That's not really my intention, but it explains. I want this to explain something for me. I know when you put your heart and soul and your guts into an election, and you keep being told that you're winning and you're winning and you're winning, and then you find out that you didn't win, that to lose is heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. And one of the emotions is sadness, and one of the things you do when you're sad is cry. I get that. I'm not blaming them for crying. Those people who were in the Javits Center who had been involved in the Hillary Clinton campaign, I'm not blaming them for crying. I get that. I get that they're upset that night. What everybody had gathered there, they were expecting to win. Mainstream media had lied to them because mainstream media was
wrong,
and because mainstream media
is dead,
and had lied to those people for months. They were sure that they were winning, and insiders in the Hillary Clinton campaign were also
wrong,
and had lied to their supporters for weeks. Somehow they thought that people would bail them out, that the American voter would bail them out of their lies, and it didn't happen. So they were sad, and they were upset, and they were confused, and some of them cried. Some of the guys cried, wept, sobbed, were inconsolable. And then when drunk Hillary didn't come out and say something to them that night, I still blame her. That was a pretty Bush League thing to do. No pun intended. Okay, so I know she was upset too, but she had a room full of people there, a bunch of young people who had busted their ass for months, who had stopped their lives. And she's too distraught, she's too drunk, she's too whatever to come out and speak to those kids. She sends out Podesta. It's a pretty crappy move, I thought. That was a pretty crappy move. So I understand. First of all, I'm using this to preface this. I understand that. So after that, you're upset. Now, those people, I give a break to. Now, if you're some kid at UC Berkeley who really didn't do anything but post on social media about what a dirtbag Donald Trump was, and you're so affected by the results of the election that you freaking need a cry room, coloring books, Play-Doh, and a therapy dog. Yeah, go to hell. Really? Stop it, you attention-seeking son of a bitch. Stop it. I don't have any time for you. I don't have any time for you. I know that your mother taught you that your butt was a cream puff and everybody wanted to bite it, but the fact of the matter is when reality sets in, nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares. Produce or get gone. So this whole idea that you can be anything you want to be, first of all, not true. Incorrect narrative. No matter and here's the reality: it doesn't matter how much you want it, or how hard you work. You will not necessarily be anything and everything you want to be. It's not possible. Life doesn't work that way. So what this horrific parenting technique has built are a lot of 20-somethings, a lot of millennials, a lot of the TBall generation who are perpetually depressed. We worked so hard, I didn't, these people did, on making sure that we didn't damage the person's self-esteem, that they couldn't take care of their own self-esteem. Now, it's called self-esteem for a reason. That they couldn't take care of their own self-esteem, and unless somebody was running interference for them, they were screwed. They were screwed because they couldn't take care of their own self-esteem, because self-esteem comes from one thing and one thing only: accomplishment. It doesn't come from anything else. It can't come from anything else. It comes from accomplishment. So when you hand everybody a trophy, this is why I'm going to get back to this. I told you I'd get back to this. When you hand everybody a trophy, when the kid knows he can't bat, when he knows he can't pitch, and when he pitched for that game, he got rocked for 4 home runs in a row in his inning and lost the game for his team, he doesn't feel good about that. He can't feel good about that. And no matter what you say, Mom, I'm telling you, no matter what you say, well, you were a lot better than last time, and you were better than that other kid, and you look so good in your uniform, and you tried so hard. Kid knows I got rocked. We were winning by 2, and after my inning, giving up 4 home runs in a row and 6 hit batters. You know, I don't deserve a trophy. We didn't win. We got hammered, and it was my fault. So you've got this cognitive dissonance going on that you've created by putting kids in unattainable situations mentally as young people. By not letting them, build their self-esteem through accomplishment. Now, and I'll tell you, and I'll tell you why. We're gonna take a little break, and I'll tell you why that is, because it's something new. It's a new phenomenon that we have just seen, and frankly, it was done to these young people by people who are my generation, the boomers, the late boomers, some of the Gen Xers, but the boomers for the most part. So we're gonna take a little break. We'll be back, and I'll explain to you more about the TBall generation: innovation, inspiration, and imagination. 3 important characteristics that are important in any business, but especially in real estate when you're looking for your forever home. And when that home is a new home, there are very, very many things that must go right. The financing must be on point. The furnishings must be on point. The location and neighborhood must be on point. And if you need someone to get that right the first time, you have to go to my friend Gary Knight at New Homes of Tampa Bay. That's New Homes of Tampa Bay. You can reach him on the web at www.newhomestpa.com. If you're looking for innovation through technology, inspiration, and imagination through hard work, www.newhomestpa.com. There's no reason to wait for a special occasion to send flowers. No reason to wait until you miss a birthday or an anniversary or Valentine's Day to send flowers. All you have to do is get a hold of my friend Christine at Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, www.bloomingdays.com. That's www.bloomingdays.com. And tell her that you want to send the very best, that you care enough to send the very best. One of FTD's top florists in all of the United States, always in the top 100 of flower shops in the United States. That's Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, www.bloomingdays.com. Forget calling 1-800-something, www.bloomingdays.com. It's great to have partners, but it's even better when one of your partners is one of the finest urban conservatives in America. That's my friend Kevin Batts. Kevin Batts of Red River Chronicle TV. Red River Chronicle TV is taking the internet by storm. With fabulous production, amazing commentary, and incredible insight, Red River TV is the thing that we'll all be watching in 2017. They are the people, Kevin and his wife Janelle, are the voices that are going to make the difference in urban America in 2017. So get in on the ground floor. Go to www.redriverchronicle.com and subscribe to Red River TV today.
Mainstream media is dead.
All right, we're back. Thanks again for coming today. Listen, I'm going to play a clip that's completely and totally inappropriate. So if you are, if you're not on headphones and you have young kids in the room, put your headphones on. If you're grown up, put your headphones on. Put on your headphones. Find them. I'll give you a minute. Put on your headphones. Cat Williams talked about self-esteem, and although it's Cat Williams doing stand-up, so it's profane. It's right on target when it comes to what self-esteem is. So we're going to go ahead and play that little bit, just a few seconds. However, put on your headphones. Remember, I warned you.
Now you talking about, you fucked up my self-esteem. Bitch, it's called self-esteem. It's esteem of your motherfucking self, bitch. How the fuck can I fuck up how you feel about you, simple bitch? I'm just saying, ladies, stop tripping on shit that don't even motherfucking matter. Never in the history of niggerdom has a nigga... Never in the history of niggerdom has a nigga been getting ready to have sex with
Again, I told you it was profane. I warned you. So now if you're all embarrassed and you know what, you want to write letters and emails and get me kicked off of iHeartRadio, yeah, I warned you. And I'll also change in the description that there's explicit language. However, did you hear what he said? How can I affect how you feel about you? Self-esteem comes from accomplishment. This new parenting failure confused love and self-esteem. That part of loving your child was to build their self-esteem. No, part of their job is to build their self-esteem. Your job is to love them. Your job was to love them. The fact of the matter is that what kids were afraid of is that if they didn't accomplish, you wouldn't love them. So you got afraid of parents got afraid of the same thing. So what they did was you want your kid to like you, so you kept lowering the bar. You kept lowering the bar and made it easier and easier for them to, quote, accomplish when they knew in their hearts that they weren't accomplishing anything. They knew that they weren't accomplishing anything. And you tended only to love them when they, when they had these false accomplishments, when you got all crazy about the participation trophy, that everybody got a participation trophy, when they knew that, they didn't win a game all season. They got blown out, in 6-inning baseball, 15-0, that the mercy rule had to be invoked in all of their games, and they get a trophy. These kids figure, kids aren't stupid. They figure stuff out. They had to play in these games where they knew that they weren't very good at, and everybody pretended they were. So, this is cognitive dissonance going on that you created in your child, that now we don't know what to do. And millennials self-identify as depressed. They self-identify as depressed. They self-identify as people who don't have a purpose because they haven't had to have a purpose. They self-identify. So they'll do anything. Listen to me. This is the dangerous part. They'll do anything, a lot of them, to feel like they're doing something that's real. They're looking for something that's real. Why? Because parents have created this false environment of accomplishment for them when they know that that's never been the case. So when they know that if they don't, they figure out, so if you don't get the grade in high school that your parents want, your parents will come down there and berate the school until you get the grade that you know damn well that you haven't earned. You know that. So what do school districts do? School districts and schools figure out, you know what, I'm just not going to fight them. We'll just go ahead and make sure nobody fails the class. When I was teaching, teachers were called in on a semester basis, and they had to defend their GPAs, especially if they were too low, to the principal. So if your class GPA was, when one of the schools was below a 2.0, you had to go and defend that to the principal. So what did teachers figure out? They figured out, screw this. Everybody gets a B. Everybody gets a B. So in order to make sure that you had a GPA that looked like it was going to be okay, you had to give away some A's. You just gave kids grades. People just gave kids grades that they didn't deserve. Everybody walked around like they did. Everybody walked around like they were smart. You didn't. So guess what happened when they went to the next class? They didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they knew that they hadn't done anything. Parents were happy. Administrators were happy because parents were happy. The only people that weren't happy were the kids, and now we're seeing that. We're seeing that as adults. Colleges and universities did the very same thing. Nobody wants to be the college with the lowest GPA because that's turned into a failing school. Not a tough school, but a failing school. So now we have a lot of people who their self-esteem is attached to this false environment. And now the Michigan Law School needs to provide a cry room, therapy animals, hot cocoa, because of the result of a presidential election. Law students, people in their mid-20s. We're going to talk about the solution in a future program. But that gives you an idea of how we got to where we are. Now, you can take this information and fortunately go do something positive with it. Tonight, I will come back and I will give you my solution to where we are and what we're doing. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming to the Willie Lawson Show on iHeart.com. We appreciate it. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you.
No more rehearsing and nursing apart. We know every part by heart. Overture, curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it. Tonight, what heights we'll hit.
Mainstream media is dead.